It is.
I mean,
it is.
Whatever it is. We are live, gentlemen.
Hello,
Mr.
guys.
Sambo, where are you this weekend, Mr. Sambo?
I'm in a city called Belo Horizonte, which is the capital of Minas Gerais, which is somewhere west of Rio de Janeiro. Eddie, the Eagle, and I just got a 7-hour midnight bus to here to renew our...
You actually did the bus?
Of course we got... What were we going to do with all those Valiums sitting in the packet?
Did you use the sleepers?
Of course we did.
It's just an excuse to take sleeping pills. There's no other logic to it.
I haven't touched the things.
You didn't do it. You didn't take the Valiums.
I took one on this bus journey, but I can manage the things. I haven't touched them since the last time we took a bus.
Are you feeling a bit woozy today?
I've got to give Eddie 10 reais if I say the word feeling, remember? I owe him 10 reais every time I say how I'm feeling, because it's always, I'm feeling a little bit rough. Feeling a bit rough today from the bus journey.
Eddie,
so, no, we're doing all right, man. We're checking out a couple of hotels now, getting to know the city. We've got some friends over here, so we're going to go and find some clandestine
parties.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully
is it still lockdown over there then?
They're sort of half in, half out. It's sort of a lockdown, but I'm currently sitting in a breakfast buffet, in a hotel that's where the swimming pool's just opened. So they're in that sort of amber phase at the moment where it's not complete lockdown, but bars and clubs. I think bars are open, parties aren't.
Right. Yeah, it's been on my list, Belo Horizonte, for a long time, but it'll have to be when I come back to Brazil in October. And your plan is to stay in Brazil until when, and then come back to where?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. It's getting back to the UK now. I basically want to get back to the UK as soon as possible because I've got so many guys on the ground that want to do the work, and I know that everything's opening up. So I think this is the point where London is overtaking Rio and virtually any other Brazilian city as the place to be. Because Brazil, the case rates are super high, so there's still many restrictions. The weather's turning a bit colder as it's getting towards winter. And at the same time, London's basically about to open up into the summer of love. I just think the summer in London's going to be absolutely amazing.
I think as well, actually, to a large degree.
I think it's going to be something that people should consider something not to miss, right? Like, what else can you expect after people have been locked down for almost 2 years? Like, for the longest time, there's been this weird bubble around it, and suddenly there's no risk to opening the place up, and everyone's been, sitting at home by themselves doing nothing. I don't see any other way other than that London's going to be absolutely amazing this summer.
I can't see any way either. I mean, they're opening on Monday. They're opening all bars, all pubs. You can go inside and sit inside again with no masks. So it's basically fully open. And then June is where apparently there's no trace of coronavirus ever to have touched the surface of the fucking planet in London. I don't know how believable that is. I think there's still going to be some annoying things missing. Like, I don't think they're going to let you gather around the bar and stand around, which I find annoying. I think the table service vibe definitely killed the atmosphere a bit in London.
But June 21st it will be, right? June 21st
I hope so. Fingers crossed. Who fucking knows? My plan is to go around. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, judging by the fact that we're going to have to, I'm going to have to take 4 PCR tests to get in. They're being careful about who they're letting in and how the thing's going to spread. But 60+% have been vaccinated now. I think that London's going to come into a life of its own this summer.
I'm almost on the list. They're doing 38s now. I've got 4 years, about probably a week or two to wait, and then I'll do 35s and under 35s.
Why don't you see if they can assess your organs and do it on the age of your organs? Like, you might be in the mid-40s. You might be in the mid-40s if they have a look at your liver and kidney.
I think it'll be a lot higher. I'm actually, on that note, having what we talked about, having my annual Bupa health check where you pay an extortionate fee for them to go squiggle your organs around a bit with some gel, or not do that. Listen in and do some nonsense you don't really understand. They just do all sorts of blood tests, make you on a treadmill with some sort of gas mask on, like you're Will Smith from I Am Legend, but without the dog running next to you. All sorts of higgledy-piggledy nonsense, then just announce.
It's not Gabby from Botafogo, is it? You haven't put
no.
She's putting gel in all kinds of orifices.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's going to be some crusty old man who's going to just, point the finger at me and wag about how much I'm drinking and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I've told you on the form I'm boozing every day. Well, there's nothing to be surprised about here, Mr. Jenkins. He's going to go, do you remember me from the bike check at school? No, Mr. Jenkins, flashbacks.
The trauma.
But yeah, we digress. It's going to be good to have you back, Sambo. What we need to do is get a date in the calendar and run a mega boot camp, or actually not a mega boot camp, just a boot camp with like 4 guys where they pay a bit more, but then we do really cool shit, like take them out to a party, take them to some bars, do some day game, maybe a more high-end buy-in.
Yeah, we'll rendezvous with Noel Pullman, because I imagine Paul's clubs, our mutual friend Paul Norman, his clubs are going to be popping as soon as that starts opening up. And he's always got a couple of them where he's like, Sam, please can you come to my club night tonight? Because it's 90% women. There's only 3 guys here and 2 of them are gay, and I'm the other one. And so I'm in client, and I'm like, this is the most unbelievable offer I've ever received. I'm being asked to come to a club because there's too many women, and he needs to balance out the ratios. So I have a feeling that we could probably do something with Paul this summer, because he's going to be wanting to, open everything back up. So we might have a new someone else to collaborate with on that in that department.
Oh no, I'm feeling bad. Anthony Pence has come in with the old doom and gloom routine. 3rd wave imminent. I work in the medical field, and we've been briefed by HR about a 3rd wave. We're preparing for it now. Make most of summer. Well, the way that doesn't sound too positive. How can there be a 3rd wave if we're all vaccinated?
I don't know.
Anthony, please elaborate. Are you talking about the UK here, London, or are you talking about elsewhere? I mean,
think he's talking about London, yeah.
On a global scale, maybe there's a 3rd wave, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, and it also depends if we're coming from the moralistic perspective of obviously we want everyone to be okay, but in terms of purely enjoyment and keeping it on the topic of, socializing and meeting people and talking to women, he's right to say, make the most of the summer regardless, right? Like 3rd wave.
He's talking about after summer, so he's not saying it's going to happen.
Yeah, so he's saying make the most of the summer. If they shut everything down, it'll be after the summer, right?
Well, we'll be fucking right off after that as well. Burak, my favorite piece of Turkish bread, says, do you think quarantine makes girls more introverted, or they just can't wait to be approached? I'd say it makes them more up for being approached, personally.
Yeah, it probably makes them more introverted, but in the same way that you guys probably feel more introverted, and so it makes you want to go out and approach and be approached and get into social situations. It's probably the same. They might be, need a bit of oil on the old cogs, grease it all up and bring a bit of fluidity back to the
bit of social fluidity. Right?
Essentially, yeah, they're going to want to get back into conversations, right, and be social again. So probably yes, introversion, but also that makes them want to be talking more to guys.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think we've hit that crossover period where we basically done it quite right. I mean, I was in a number of locations. You were obviously in Brazil. And for the last 6-7 months, we've lived really the life of Riley in comparison to most people locked down. But now, as the UK opens up, I think the smart move is obviously I'm here, you're coming back, and it's going to be a very cool summer. I think you're right. UK is going to be ahead of pretty much anywhere else, despite all the fuck-ups. They've somehow actually done quite well with this vaccine program, and they're on course to not push it back further.
Also, it seems, you can't trust that. I have no idea what to believe or how to look at any of this. It seems like it's all just hearsay, right? Even the reports on the news, like the UK's fucking it up, they're doing well, this country's doing badly, now they're doing well. No one knows, right? It's like cryptocurrency. One day it's down, one day it's up. You have no idea what to predict or what to expect. But anyway.
Okay, so clarity from Anthony. Sage telling Boris to lock back up healthcare preparation for this winter. Okay, so yeah, winter, these sort of things rise, but hopefully that won't mean the summer is dampened. Hopefully it's going to be a blast in the summer. Boris will
and all of our oldies have been vaccinated, right? So it's not, even if there is one in winter, at least the majority of the vulnerable are going to be all right.
Unless the strains change, I guess. Boris will probably bring back lockdowns because of the Indian variant. Don't talk about BAV in that manner, please, on this channel. Anthony Pence. The women in Soho on Friday, Saturday nights are open season as a Oh, the phraseology. Sometimes I have that existential moment of just realizing I talk in random like rhymes and phrases that mean absolutely nothing, but are quite entertaining to say. As they missed out on guys and women for the most part.
They're usually not the prime cup of tea in so the average Soho girl on a Friday night is well below your pay grade, I would argue. A little bit. So
I think there's some talent out in Soho. Usually.
It depends where you go, right? If you're going to what's it called? I've forgotten all the names of the bars there. You find the average pub in Soho on a Friday night, and it's Stacey from Colchester with the gang.
Could be. I'd say that's probably more the Canary Wharf lot, where these Essex birds plough in on a Thursday to try and snag a banker. And these bloated kind of walruses from Essex. You're what I love, yeah. Soho's a bit more kind of all sorts of creepy crawlies. I liken it to Lapa. You might get some worldies. You might just get some hey guys in gimp suits. It could be anything. I really like the vibe of Soho though, because it's a bit unexpected. You don't know what you're going to get. It's always a bit of a burst.
Soho's an interesting one. There's always some back alley bar that you haven't seen before that's popping off. Like you never know which bar is going to be good.
Yeah, I've got time for that. I'm excited to hang around more in Soho. Today's topic we're talking about is travel and where is good to go this summer, or where are our top tips to go. Do you have any from reminiscing about the days of us jetting around Europe together before you made a more permanent move to Brazil? Were there any that stood out as places that are a safe pair of hands for guys maybe who are just trying to shake off the rust and get back into proceedings?
I mean, again, I know we're talking about traveling away from England, but London is a stalwart in the summer. It probably is the best. It probably is the best in the world, in my opinion.
You think so?
I just think it's a buffet. It's a global buffet. There's no city that's more metropolitan. You might go up and talk to a culturally Chinese girl who's never been approached before in her life and has absolutely no idea what's going on. Or you might go up and talk to a friendly Brazilian who's just arrived in London and she's like really up for a conversation, like really excited to be talking to an exotic English foreigner. And I just love the mystery of the thing, right? You can go to any part of London, London Bridge, Soho, Knightsbridge, Chelsea, Shoreditch, Hampstead, and you just never know what you're going to find, and I think it's amazing. However, outside of London, we've always enjoyed Poland, haven't we? Because it's Warsaw particularly has got a similarly metropolitan feel. There's a lot of just attractive girls walking around, and it's good fun, right? There's wide streets, big open areas. So Poland's a safe pair of hands, but I wouldn't say in any way it's an exceptional place to go. It's just a safe pair of hands.
There's some very good-looking women, but the average girl tends to be good-looking and cute rather than absolute stunner. It's rare to see complete stunners there. To be fair, the same could be said for London. I mean, it's a lot of attractive women, but you're not going to see any like absolute jaw dropper Victoria's Secret model star.
Yeah,
which you might go into Moscow or a Kiev. But you do get a lot of good-looking girls. There's a lot of mix. There's a lot of variation. I agree, actually. I think London in summer is one of the best cities in the world. 100% if they do relax restrictions come in. I actually taught a client a couple of days ago, and one of his good friends is a Brazilian girl, actually took the hit. She didn't do what we're saying, you should do with the old Great Escape via Mexico that I did to avoid quarantine in the UK. She actually flew directly back from Brazil. She was escorted straight from the airport off the plane to a quarantine hotel, and she got 1 hour exercise outside where you're allowed to pace around a concrete garden surrounded by guys in yellow jackets, making sure you don't escape, and then paraded back into the hotel. You have that for 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. She actually did that. Like, just why wouldn't you have Googled it? I don't know. It's just like, why wouldn't you have Googled that and just fucking done the route via Mexico while these loopholes are there? It's worth knowing about them, right? Because that's cost her £2,000, which is probably 4 or 5 months' work in Brazil for a normal person. And it's like,
what's the quarantine like in so you fly to Mexico? Is there no sort of, you have to stay inside in Mexico as well? What's the deal over there?
No, not at all. So it's just a loophole.
What do you do when you get to
the UK obviously has some sort of sordid deal with the Mexican authorities because the coronavirus rates, if you look on the world list, are the same. What happens in Mexico is you literally just a box ticking exercise. So I went there all I did was charge around. You don't actually get put anywhere. It's you arrive in the country. You're just in the country on that territory for 10 days. And then that gets you through the loophole of coming from a red list country, which is Brazil. Mexico's not a red list country for whatever reason. I think a lot of money's changed hands to keep it as an open destination.
I think so too. And why is Mexico not worried about these Brazilian variants coming over? And
Mexico doesn't give a monkfish. Basically, they're so reliant on tourism, and it's such a gangster's paradise. It's so full of corruption. I mean, it makes Brazil look like a kind of a stable, non-corrupt London in terms of how the different, like, it's just anything goes in Mexico. No one gives a flying fuck.
Right,
everyone's out themselves. It's run by cartels, a lot of the places, especially the holiday places. They're obviously keeping everything open. So
nice. So that's a few people have mentioned Belize as well. Carlos might be flying to Belize, so there's a chance that I'll do Belize instead.
That's if you want to learn diving, it's one of the best places in the world to do it. That's where I learned to dive, and it's got some crazy stuff going on. It's a really bizarre place as well because it's sandwiched geographically between Guatemala and Mexico, but it's basically full of like the sort of people you'd meet in South Brixton. Basically, like English black guys with a proper like English London accent, smoking weed, driving golf buggies around. It's so bizarre.
I love
really
that.
Bizarre.
Right. Well, I'm thinking about it. It's because apparently it's somewhere where people store their cash if they're not so interested in giving some percentage of it to the government. If you catch my drift. But apparently it's lawless there as well. Anything goes. They're not worried about variants coming in. There's some really dodgy financial scheme going on there as well. And so, to be honest, I'm not interested in Mexico or Mexican culture. Sorry, Luis, my cameraman, and anyone else. I just don't have that interest in Mexico. I'm more interested in Belize because it's a bit more off the beaten track. I'm considering going there.
I can see that. I think given what I know now about, and Les knows about Guadalajara and also Mexico City, you could have a really good time there. If you're going in completely unprepared, knowing no one, knowing no places, knowing nothing on your own, I think it could be a bit shit. Could be hit or miss, but now given kind of all the time we've spent there figuring it out, you can basically leverage that knowledge. So I think you'll have a blast in Mexico. Yeah. But up to you.
Just quickly, C. Joels, I'm sorry to hear about your penis colonoscopy. I know how painful those are. I had one of them a couple of years ago, and it's an unpleasant experience to say the least. So I hope your penile colonoscopy gets better soon.
Michael Spezzalati went out gaming last Sunday along Oxford Street. We were swarmed with guys doing day game. Well, I mean, you're part of the problem there because you've gone to Oxford Street. 2 girls I spoke to had already been approached. Any alternative place to gay game in London? It's unbelievable, isn't it, that people still think you have to go to Oxford Street to approach people. Do you not find it strange in a way that...
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to it. There's 2 sides to this coin. The first one is, well, it's 2 sides to every coin. Let me put it this way. If you want to get back into the swing of approaching, i.e. get rejected a lot, just get that social flow, not care about outcomes, there's no better place because everyone's approaching. Because all of the possible pressures that you're going to feel in your mind that are going to stop you from wanting to approach, you're going to find them on Oxford Street. It's busy. People are watching. There's loads of guys doing it. The girls are in a rush. They don't want to talk. They're shopping. They're with friends. It's one of the most intimidating places to do it. And that's why if you're just trying to get back into that social flow and that momentum, it can be helpful. However, I tend to focus more tactically in these sort of cases. And the way that I teach and the way that I do this for myself is I think about the 2 following criteria. I think, what are places that I enjoy going? Like, what are things I'm interested in? Right. Electronic music, techno music, art exhibitions, AI, like all of the things that I'm interested in. Then I say, right, on one axis, you've got that. On the other axis, which of those places are likely to have a high footfall of attractive women, right? And that will massively narrow that down. But let's say there's an AI exhibition going on in one of the galleries in London. I find that and I go there. Let's say there's an art gallery of like impressionist art that I like, and that's going on in Trafalgar Square. And so I go there. And these are the few places that I know are going to have attractive women with similar interests where I'm doing something that I enjoy doing. And the reason being is because I can go to that place and say, even if I don't see an attractive woman, I'm already going to a place that I want to go. It's already my own adventure. And what that means is that when I arrive there, there's no pressure to approach. It's natural. I like what I'm looking at. And so striking up a conversation with a cute girl who's in the same gallery, who has the same niche interest, right? It's almost like you have social proof. because you're already in an environment where there's like a bar to entry. Maybe you've paid for a ticket. Not many people have that interest. And so my percentage of success and the quality of the people that I meet there based on what my type is way higher in those environments. So if you're worried about, going to places that are full of guys approaching women, think about like what's a niche interest that you have, and which of those niche interests almost also may have a high footfall of attractive women, and then go to there, because then it's an adventure. You're going somewhere you want to go. You're meeting the types of girls you want to meet. So be smart about it, right?
Be a bit more targeted. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's the same reason I do a lot of approaching in gyms, because I see the girls and I know, one of the criteria for me is they actually work out, they're into sport,
Yeah, me too,
they're in good shape. So the goods on show, it's the same thing as you approaching on the beach in Rio. You can see the goods on show, right? It's a no-brainer in some ways, isn't it? You can be more targeted with this. It doesn't have to be the headless chicken routine. You can size it down a bit. And I think it's actually a sensible way of doing that. And as things open back up, yeah, why not? I mean, look, obviously there's still going to be some element of randomness. I mean, some of the hottest girls I've ever met have been going out with Professor McSweeney in the Soho House branches, because that, as you said, there's a threshold to entry, right? So the girls, they're either, I don't know, do girls get them free? Is it that, or do they actually have to have memberships? But I don't know.
It's it's blurred lines always, isn't it? If there's an attractive girl, whatever the rules are for entry to anywhere, she's got to way around it, right? She can just wait in the hallway and wait for a guy to invite her in, who knows the staff, who somehow connect. It's a completely different ballgame when you're an attractive girl. You can do anything you want.
I agree.
However, let's just answer this question a bit more directly. If you're bored of Oxford Street, yes, go to Trafalgar Square. Is probably the net. It's also similar. There'll be a lot of guys approaching there, but it's a bit more open. Feels a bit more natural. Then you can walk down towards Trafalgar Square, where you've got the viewing gallery onto the Great Monument. You can just stand there and view your gallery, pick someone you want to go and talk to and go and talk to them. You can then walk down to Blackfriars, cross the bridge and go over to the South Bank, walk down the South Bank towards London Bridge. Then you're going to find the more city types down there. You can walk from London Bridge down through Borough Market, and you can meet the people there. It's a complete, there's like a route in London. You've got like a 2 or 3 mile walk where you can just be literally always in places that are abundant. Other places you can think about: Shoreditch, Brick Lane, even Dalston. There's some cool like vintage clothes shops where you find really cool girls in places like Dalston if you like that more hipster style. Chelsea, Knightsbridge, South Kensington is a no-brainer. It's full of museums, art galleries, exhibitions. Be smart about it and think about, instead of just like, I'm going to go out to approach women, go to a place that you want to visit. It's interesting for you to go, and treat it like your social playground. You're going out because you want to go and explore this environment. You want to go have a fun day out. And when you see girls that you're attracted to, you go and talk to them. It's like, let this not just be about going and hitting a woman. Let it be about you actually enjoying your life and going to places that you want to go and making the best of the opportunities that present themselves.
And then as an extension of that, don't just set aside time to go out approaching, but as you leave the house on the way to the gym, you see a stunner. At the gym, you see a stunner. After work, you see a stunner, and you don't speak to them because you're like, oh, this isn't my game time. It's about congruence with your entire lifestyle, isn't it? You are the sum of your habits. This is something we are, not something we do.
100%.
You want to become
100%.
that extroverted guy who takes the chances situationally as much as possible, because that converts into you just being that guy without setting aside time to go and do game, which in itself
100%.
can always be a bit weird, can't it? You have that pressure in the back of your mind going, I'm out, literally just hit on women, and then you don't do anything, and you're like, that's a waste of time. You kind of get into this existential dread thing. Give yourself, as Sam says, sort yourself up like little heroes' journeys to do with friends, or maybe just give yourself an activity. Like for me, if I know I need to, if I'm open to the idea of approaching, I know that I've got stuff to buy in, say, Westfields. And I know going around finding my things in the shops, I'm alive to the possibilities of approaching women, and lo and behold, I'm going to approach 3 or 4 probably in that shopping trip. So just be a bit smarter with it, fitting it into your lifestyle. Put it as something that can be congruent and can build into a habit, a bit like going to the gym. Like me and you, we don't even think about it. It's just like, gym today, yep, done. It's that that's the kind of vibe you want to get to with this stuff, isn't it? Where you're not really even questioning what you're up to. You're just approaching that girl. You see her, you're going to have a conversation with her.
100%. But just like, I mean, it's sort of like meditation and like exercise in the gym as well. it's sometimes for some people too early to say, don't go out to approach women, just integrate it into your lifestyle. There's like some sort of crossover, right? Like for me and you, when we started getting into this and we were terrified of it and we had no idea what we were doing, if someone had just said, no, don't go out to approach women, just be a social guy who talks to girls throughout your day, me and you wouldn't have been able to do that, right? Because it was so intimidating at the start. And even now, if you go a month in lockdown, it's virtually impossible to go out and say, oh, I'm just going to the shop and maybe I'll approach a girl. You will not approach a girl if you've got that mindset. So at the start, you have to say, I am not going to return home unless I approach someone. And then once you've got that bit of momentum, once you've got that social flow, you've started remembering that people are open to conversations, that's when you can start to incorporate it into your lifestyle. But for me, I see it as like, to get started, to get from 0 to 1, you've got to set targets. You've got to give yourself no other option but to do at least one approach before you come home. And then once you've got into that flow and you're starting to get into it, then you can incorporate it into the lifestyle.
Yeah, very good points. There's a lot of questions coming through here, guys. So keep them coming. We're not going to be able to answer them all, but what have we got here? The Coffee Club. Hello again, Sam. I don't know you, Tusk, but hope you're having both a good afternoon.
Hi, the Coffee Club. Yeah, we're having a great afternoon, man.
Is he one of your creepy crawlies from Rapper, or is he a relative?
No, he was on my last live stream. I told him that the coffee over here in Brazil is terrible because they export all the good stuff to England and then keep this rancid coffee here for the Brazilians. So, but no, other than that, the Coffee Club is new to me as he is to you. But welcome and thank you for returning the Coffee Club.
Mr. Siegmund, awesome to see you two live. How's Bav? Mr. Most probably inspiring student of yours. He's trapped in India with the Indian variant. So we haven't heard. I actually messaged him today and he said he can't get back. He's very sad. He's trapped into India. He may be there for some time, not to be scoffed at, obviously. But
the Indian variant's not allowed to leave.
That's how he currently is. He went there for a trip to Mumbai, eagerly clasping his mitts together, excited at the idea of snagging some local puss, and he's ended up trapped in his a prisoner of his own land. And God knows when we'll be seeing him again. It may be some time. He's done the old Captain Oates. He's trapped outside for some time. What else he got here?
I'll be gone for a while.
Manfred Bedonde, the brother of Ryan. If anyone wants to come out and approach this evening in London, I'm down. We'll get in touch with me, man, because I know 400 people in London who are probably majority of them going out and approaching tonight around Oxford Circus. So I can put you in touch with many a fine fellow, info@jamestusk.com. Matt Loctization, the women always seem to pop out of your game time. Yeah, they do. Whenever you're scheduled to go and do game, guess what happens? You don't see a muscle. And then whenever you're like, right, I'm definitely not approaching today, you've got a bit of a stinking hangover, you've got something important to do, 3 or 4 stunners just appear from the mist. It's always the way, isn't it? But,
well, if all it requires is a hangover for the stunners to appear from the mist, let's get drinking, old boy. Let's get a bottle of cachaça in.
Actually, you still owe me a horrendously big bar tab.
I've got a big. Yeah,
me and Sambo did an epic all-night drinking session.
Finale, wasn't it? It was the grand finale.
It was a farewell of spending around 3 months in each other's pockets, and it was time to end it on a low. So we got horrendously drunk, did nothing, and went to bed at 4 a.m. I think it was.
Yeah, I had the best day of the trip the following day, though. I went out and I was shaking. I woke up the next day shaking. But it was such a challenge to get out of it. It was such a challenge that in my mind I said, this day is going to be epic, right? Because I had this hero's journey, right? I was coming from broken. I was shaking the whole day, literally shaking. One of the worst hangovers of my life. And that was, me and Eddie went out the next day, and it was epic.
Yeah, you hooked up with two fine fillies. I remember you both saying they were your respective dream geese.
Yeah, we did well that day. We just powered through, and we did exactly what was required, right? You're sticking around. It's so easy to go out, especially when you've got a hangover. Try and get some numbers, and then just be like, okay, I'll message you. Maybe we'll meet.
Yeah,
but don't do it. Whatever the case, you're going to feel this moment of awkwardness where you want to go, you want to get the number. Don't do it. Just hang around, right? Invite them somewhere else. Hang around. Be patient. Get over that feeling, that sickness or whatever it is that you're feeling.
It's delayed approach anxiety, really.
Yeah, because they're in the moment and they're going to do whatever they're going to do in the moment. They're not going to do it later. When they go home and they're drinking with their friends, watching a film, they're not going to have that energy to come and see you. It's all about taking it in the moment, and that's what somehow we managed to do. I was blurry-eyed, double vision, shaking, but Eddie and I had a good one.
I think there's two key points to elaborate on here, and one of them is that like many of the things in game and life, there's contradictions, right? So at what point do you think it's a case-by-case basis and learning to calibrate? At what point do you say, I'm going to stay in every approach versus I'm going to know when to cut my losses and leave? How does it work with that? Because it's true, like often when we leave the approach, we're like, for fuck's sake, why didn't I stay in there? And you never see the girl again. But then when you stay in the approach, you're like pissing away your time. And sometimes you don't get the girl back home. So do you have, maybe you're just using Brazil as an example, would you say the majority of cases it's better to stick with the girl on a night out scenario and just see where it leads?
Here's how I see it. I think most of the time when the guy leaves the interaction, it's not because he thinks it's the best time to leave in terms of his potential results. It's because he feels a tremendous amount of tension, or he feels like, I just want to get back to my friends because it's lighter, it's not so intense, and I'll message her later. And it's another excuse. It's an excuse to avoid the path of resistance, right? But in almost every case, both from a learning perspective and from an effective results perspective, it's better to keep going, right? The motto that I've been living by for the last month or so is, with regard to game, not with regard to life, but, well, it works with life as well, but essentially, lose patience, lose the goal, right? Lose patience, lose the goal. And that applies with the messaging process, that applies with the dating process. As long as you can say, like, you know, let's say you're messaging a girl and she's taking a long time to reply, and you get that thought of like, oh, I'm a high value guy, I value my time, so, you know, even though she's amazing, I really want to see this girl and she's much more attractive than my other options, get rid of her. My mindset has been recently, it's like, no, just be patient, leave it for now, come back to it later, figure it out, right? Don't think of it as like a waste of your time or like a way that you're not investing your time well. Procrastinate for hours each day. So it's not true that it's a waste of your time. You're going to be watching YouTube videos later. You're going to be going on Instagram. You're going to be doing bullshit at some point during your day. To invest a little bit of time and effort into figuring out how to win over a girl that you like is a good investment. And when they flake, at times, if you like the girl, instead of saying, okay, fuck that off, she's flaked, it's disrespectful, you say, no, it's an interesting experiment. I wonder how many times she's going to flake on me before she starts saying, like, why the fuck are you pursuing me? Or comes out with me because every other guy's given up and you're still there. So I've been having this mindset, and I've been finding it actually really interesting and really effective. Like, just being patient and just keeping that broadcast list, keeping that group of leads, and just being patient and following them through and figuring it out. So it was a topic that we were going to come on to, but I thought maybe we can just dip into there.
No, it's a good topic. But then coming back to the original question, at what point do you decide, right, I'm going to stick with the girl, this circumstance, and it's going to kind of work out, versus I'm going to cut my losses, just take the hit with a few numbers and move on to someone else?
So for me, that comes down to how much you like the girl, right? And it may be that in some sense you are, because you haven't seen her, because she's playing hard to get, you're over-exaggerating her positivity in your head, right? There's that pedestal effect, whereas if a girl's not chasing you, if she's not giving attention to you and you haven't been with her, right? You haven't slept with her or kissed her. You fill in the gaps that you don't know about her with the perfect version that could be there. But regardless of that, if you take a step back and say, there's no rush, I'm going to be patient, everyone has a way, right? She's been with guys less attractive or less interesting guys than me before, just because they found her at the right time. And she will have the right time again. And I know that I'm more valuable than some of the guys she's been with. So I just need to be patient, figure out what I need to do to get this girl. And when the right time presents itself, I'm the person that's going to be there. And it's not, and it's coming from the perspective of curiosity again, right? If she flakes on me, it's interesting to see. One of the girls I'm talking to right now has flaked on me 7 times. She's flaked on me 7 times. Not
Dunga.
It's Duda.
It is.
She's flaked on me 7 times. And each time, it's, for me, I'm enjoying it, right? And if it happens 7 more times, I'm enjoying it because I want to see like where this goes. Is this just going to keep happening, or will it turn around, or will it switch? And what can I do to get either outcome. For me, it's just part of the learning process. It's like, I'm learning from this, whatever happens. And for me, that's interesting enough. And it's such a tiny time investment, and it can be so enjoyable. So I just think it's another way of framing the process.
If she then comes out on a date, you know, is that element of you need to, and you actually really like her, is there an element of like you need to hold her to account a bit because she's kind of pissed you around, perceivingly pissed you around, even though you don't give a fuck because your frame is, I'm not giving a shit, I'm learning from it. Where's the balance there? You know, would you have to whip to a degree?
Here's what I believe. Again, it comes back to, if you lose patience, you lose the girl. So what a lot of guys do when this happens is they say, right, well, I need to lay down the law, right? I need to lay down the law now and give her an ultimatum and be like, right, look, I don't really have time for this. I'm a busy guy. So if you can't meet me this week, then we won't meet. That guy is never meeting this girl. She's never going to do it. As soon as you put down an ultimatum, it's complete. In my experience, it's completely off the cards.
Right.
If you completely ignore it and act like, oh, she's flaked, so I'll do something else. I don't care. I'll see another girl, right? But I still like her. It's cute that she's like this, right? It's endearing in some way. I don't really care. Let's just see where this goes. Then when you go out on the date, you don't make any reference to the fact that she's been flaking. You just continue as normal, right? You build whatever connection you're going to build with her. You find her nuances. You make her laugh. And as we both know, essentially, it's as simple as if you're with a girl and she becomes aroused or excited, it's game on. And if you just keep that mindset, essentially none of this matters, right? We say that humor is important, you know, high value, all of this stuff's important, but you can do all of that. And if you don't manage to make her aroused or stimulated in the moment, she's not going home with you. And if you do, she will. And so just keeping that mindset. But for me, it's about, you know, at the same time, there's 4 or 5 girls that right now, if I message, I can meet up with, right, in Rio. Right. But I'm not that interested in them. So for me, it's more interesting to pursue one person that I'm really interested in than to, you know, meet up with someone that I don't really care about. That's the area that's interesting for me. It's pursuing what I really want, even if it's unjustified, even if it's sort of, you know, even if she's not even that amazing. But for me right now, I want to figure that out, you know? And I think a lot of guys could use that mindset because they just get impatient and they get rid of it and they think, oh, there's plenty more fish in the sea. But it's like, yeah, there are. But the really attractive fish in the sea, generally speaking, require you to do more than the less attractive ones. So, yeah, you can go and, you know, meet up and sleep with a load of average women now. But the really good ones you're going to lose because someone with more patience and more, you know, more creativity in how they're going to do it is going to get the top level girls who don't give themselves away so easily.
I think you do have a good point. I think I'm guilty of that, particularly at times, because often I'll travel to a location, right, and I have limited time and location.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So but also, I just kind of go through that thing, that ego mindset sometimes. If it's my way or the highway, right? And it does work as a filter system because the girls that aren't going to fit your frame will fuck off. But yeah, you do lose, I guess, some higher quality women because you're not willing to play that kind of seduction dance, right? That dance.
I mean, a lot of the time they've got a few guys doing it, right? And the guy that shows it, he really likes her, but he doesn't need her, right? He's just enjoying talking to her, and he thinks he can figure her out. That's the guy she goes for because he's presenting himself as a better potential partner. And it's not about neediness. There's this issue that we kind of conflate neediness with persistence, and it's not the same thing. You can be persistent without being needy. You're just showing her, I like you and I'm going to make this work, right? And that sort of decisiveness and that persistence can be what gets, in my opinion, the really top tier girls because they don't need to give themselves away so easily, right? So look, I think both are important depending on the phase you're going through. If you're not seeing anyone, then see someone. If you're a guy that's saying, I'm pursuing this girl and I've got no other options, you're fucking up. You need to go and, you know, meet some girls. You need to go out there and get the ball rolling. Once you've got the ball rolling and you're seeing a few girls, even if they're not your ideal type, then you can afford to say, right, I've got these options, but I'm choosing this one. Until that point, you're going to start obsessing. You're going to start getting needy and it's going to start showing in the way that you're communicating with these women. But if you don't have that neediness, you should be thinking, how can I make it happen with the girls I really like?
That's a very good point. And the other point you touched on, it's quite far long ago now in terms of minutes, but you touched on you had that amazing day the next day off that horrendous hangover. I think if you almost look at each day is a miniature hero's journey and pick a goal, then you can actually turn any kind of adversity or any sort of shit into quite a fun kind of activity, right? And it's we've obviously been focused on it a bit because we're starting to film some side stuff for our channels, which will be kind of more Bald and Bankrupt style. And so we want to give a hero's journey that we have to pursue that day. But yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said on a micro level just for guys to do that, isn't there? Just to keep that kind of positivity and see what you can do. And it is all a game. Life is a game. We're not coming out of it live. You might as well have a blast with it and have some fun, right?
Yeah. We're all heading to nowhere except the propagation of our own genes. And that doesn't mean we can't enjoy the journey. That's how, that's the way I'm seeing it. It's like we're allowed to enjoy it even though we're all heading to the same place. Like each day should be an adventure, and you're absolutely right. And we had that most obviously when we were traveling, I think 2018, when it was like Poland, Budvar. And what we found is we did have days where we were hungover and, we went to the gym, but we were a bit sluggish. But every time, the last couple of days, we would have epic experiences, amazing memories, because we knew that time's against us, and this is the time where we have to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But if you do that each day, you say, right, today I'm going to go out and I'm not going to leave the house. I'm not going to come back to the house. I'm just going to explore. I'm just going to go on an adventure, and that's my plan for the day. You're going to have an amazing day, hangover or not. You'll be distracted from your hangover. You'll see new things. Your mind will open up. You'll have ideas. But without that direction, you think you might do something good in the day, but you just won't if you haven't given yourself some sort of purpose.
What are some other miniature micro level 1 day hero's journeys we could suggest to guys, to a bit like, today I'm just not going to come home, I'm going to explore? What are some other things they could maybe think about doing if they want to get started with that kind of process?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that it's kind of spontaneous and creative, and it's your own idea, right? So like off the top of my head, you could say, right, it sounds pretty romantic, but I'm going to go watch the sunset on Primrose Hill, right? Primrose Hill is a beautiful part of London. You've got to kind of hike up to the top of the hill. The sunset's beautiful there. You can see the whole of London from there. So you're guaranteed a cool experience going there. Also, you're likely to encounter a lot of people. You're going to be walking down Camden Canal. You're going to be walking into a park area where there's going to be people around. That will be an adventure, right? Literally anything you can think of. An exhibition, right, would be a good one. Or to spend the afternoon with a girl that you've just met, right? And then you go out, and she doesn't even have to be attractive. It could be anyone, but someone that's not doing anything that you get to spend an afternoon with. Just create your own adventures, right? This is what we've got. Nothing more important to do than that, right? That
it's so true, because life is just a series of experiences, right? And if you don't take control over what those are going to be to some degree, they're going to be a mixed bag. Whereas if you know you like certain stuff, load those in. So I used to play with friends flight roulette, where we'd turn up at an airport and just go around the check-in counters and just see where an available flight was, seats on a plane. You buy it at the counter and just fuck off onto the plane, and you land it somewhere fucking random, right? And you just go there for the weekend. So if you want to do something like that when things open back up, guys can do that with Portugal now if they're based in the UK. Portugal's on the green list. It's now not illegal to travel. You can go for holidays. So, I mean, I'd be doing stuff like that. But we may propagate this idea of the hero's journey more, because I think it's actually a really important thing, isn't it? But not so much the life cycle of a hero, just on a kind of a miniature basis, like a
micro hero's journey.
Micro hero.
But it's true, isn't it? I mean, it makes all the difference. Just giving yourself a purpose, even in the moment or on the day. It doesn't have to be some grand life purpose. It can just be like, right now, what can I do? And if you're making money, if you're thinking, I can't be going on adventures, I'm making money. Just look at it this way. The only possible reason you're trying to make money is so that you can create these experiences later, or so that you can pass on the means to create these experiences to your offspring. Like, that's literally it. The money without the ability to buy good experiences is completely meaningless.
And as the old quote goes,
have those experiences now, then do them, right?
And as the old quote goes, money doesn't necessarily equal happiness, does it? Mohammed, London has been good on my return. It's great to be back. I've had that nostalgia now of like being 6 months away, and what it does for me when I return to London is it resets the agenda. So it's really exciting to be back again, because I'm seeing people like my friends who are based in London. I'm out on in central London teaching. It's fucking cool. And obviously now the sun is starting to peer out from behind the clouds. Things are fully open, and there's a lot of students who want to get back into it. So very cool. I'm excited for this summer. It's going to be good.
I'm excited to get back there. back to the South Bank.
Phong Hang, my favorite bowl of Vietnamese soup. TUSK, do you do coaching full time and can afford travel everywhere, or you have other sources of income? I mean, I muck around with little bits of Bitcoin and stuff like that, and I've got property, but mainly it's just coaching. There's a big old market out there. Me and Samba have always said, if you tie your industry to any of the human essentials, i.e. food, drink, death, taxes, or sex, or anything similar related to that, you're always going to be in business. It's true. All those things are never going away.
So the choice was between assassin and dating coach, right?
Assassin, dating coach, funeral director. Or some sort of Ramsey failure where we just run like a hot dog pop-up in Nottingham selling wrap burgers. I mean, we could still do some of these ideas. I'm up for it. It sounds like a hero's journey to me. Like selling Nottingham's best wrap burger, and like we actually get an award for like, and it's in the shape of a wrap, and it gets stuck on the van as the best wrap.
Well, we've still got to make our Viking meat restaurant, don't we?
Oh, the Viking meat restaurant. Should we get some feedback? Let's get some feedback from the troops on what they think it would be like. So do you want to describe it?
Yeah, so essentially what we want to create is the real Viking experience. We want to have a stone cave where you walk in and there's men and women dressed in nothing but bits of animal fur over their genitalia.
Well, yeah, there's big lanterns outside, right? Those flaming huge candles, and there's a rock that gets rolled off, and then you enter into this vast cavern, and it's all lit up by
huge stone cavern. And then there's a great Igor character, 7 foot tall, bald headed, with a machete, just hacking bits of meat off and flinging them on a fire.
And he's wearing full chainmail. He's full chainmail. You can't see his face. He's just grunting. And you've got these women who serve, and they're all basically in loincloths made out of cheetah skin, just flailing around, absolute worldy. So they're serving, and all you can order is miscellaneous meat, and they just bring half an animal to the table. And a stick of wine.
Miscellaneous wine as well, just flagons of wine, and there's no sniffing, there's no swirling it around your wooden cup. It's just get the wine and drink it.
And there's no napkins.
Of course there's no napkins. Of course there's no napkins.
And what music is playing? Some sort of medieval Pied Piper dancing around.
It's a live band, isn't it? It's people going ooga, 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 and batting these pigskin drums in the corner.
If anyone wants to invest in our Viking restaurant, please. We're taking early investment opportunities. We're yet to raise any money for it, but I think it'd be an absolute blast.
We need a
maybe we should actually look into doing it. It sounds good.
Well, I think we've got. Let's try and focus on this one project we're on at the moment. And if YouTube shadow ban us again, which inevitably they will when you start loading up the videos with Goose, Trout, and Creighton. As soon as we start getting shadow banned, the Viking restaurant opens again.
Good idea. How much would it cost to have a coach accompany me in London tonight? Unfortunately, I am preoccupied tonight, but I could if you get in touch with me, I can sort out a coach who can take you out, who I know in London. Manfred Bedonde, if that is your real name. The Coffee Club, I was thinking for ages about TUSK look like. It's come to me, the band Weezer's front singer. They are identical to one another. Teenage dirtbag singing away. Do I look like him?
Interesting. It's interesting, these comments. I mean, you've got sort of an opportunity to ask virtually anything you want about the topic that we specialize in, and all we get is comparison to like has-been musicians.
This is quite a good comment from Andrew Hayes. I can imagine Sam doing some wellness retreats and yoga, James owning some dingy betting shops. That's so true. Oi, Patricia, why hasn't fucking Dev paid yet? And just sitting in the back, some horrible dank, broken window betting shop. That's so me, actually. That's a very good shout. I don't want to do it, but I can imagine myself doing it.
Yeah.
Bruce was 5'6". Do you think he would have had a problem Bruce Lee was 5'6". Do you think he would have had a problem attracting women? I was pretty sure he was a woofter, wasn't he? Old Bruce Lee, loose brie. Same with penis size. Right, okay, this has got too far. Right, just guys, you've got an opportunity to ask us anything you want, and you're nattering away about Bruce Lee's penis size. Can you get back to the point? Are you thinking of expanding and hiring more assistants in the US? We do always take on kind of people to work with, but you have to have trained with us first. We do. That's the one thing we do copy from RSD, because basically what happens is every man and his dog comes in thinking it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and they can't pull a muscle. And then they turn up and we're like, no. So you've got to prove yourself by actually investing into the fucking
Yeah, we'll also, from my perspective, it's like there's two completely separate skill sets, which are more often than not completely incompatible. And the first is the ability to take action with women, to go out and approach and to actively learn, right? And those are the people that get, I don't want to say good, but the people that tend to get results with women are the ones that are consistent about going out and talking to women, and the people that actively learn. So when something doesn't go right, they think, what did I maybe do wrong there? And how do I not do that again? That's one skill set. And that's a sort of lateral thinking, creative, conscientious skill set. The other is to teach other people how to do it. And there is, on the Venn diagram, it's a very small intersection of people that can both become proficient at meeting, attracting and dating women, and who can teach other people to do it, and who actually care enough about the well-being of the people they're teaching to really focus on them and learn what they need in order to improve. So yeah, it's not easy.
It's quite a selfless job, and most guys who get into that, you're not thinking about the fact this job is actually predominantly helping people. You're just thinking, oh, I'd be a dating coach, travel the world. We've almost sold you too well on the idea that it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll by watching our videos, when actually there's a lot of quote unquote boring kind of helping people going into it that most guys don't see. So does the guy on the left speak? Badonde's got his fists waving in. Badonde, to answer your... Oh, no, that wasn't Badonde. This was Arctic Penguin. I have some tattoos. Mine certainly did not increase my SMV. If anything, they downgraded it because they look interesting, to say the least. I mean, I've got a fucking snake on my chest. I mean, that was kind of what I questioned myself a bit. Badonde, can you please be above board with your comments? We don't need any fighting on here. If your questions were a bit better, mate, we would answer them, but they're pretty shabby questions. You've asked, is there a coach in London who can take you out tonight? Yes is the answer. Send us an email. If you have any other questions, please ask them, but, you know, ask reasonable questions.
I think tattoos on the whole... Can you hear me? My audio sounds a bit weird.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, cool. I think tattoos generally increase it because it is a sign of a risk taker, right? You know you're taking a risk. You know, if you get a tattoo, you're isolating yourself from certain lines of work. You're doing something that's permanent, so you're recognizing your mortality to some extent and the transience of things. You've got kind of a fuck it attitude. So I think on the whole, a good tattoo increases your at least the interest that women are going to show in you in the long term. However, I saw a tattoo the other day that said, thank you, mother. They were trying to say thank you, mother, and they said ThenkYouMather. Thank you, mother. And that is unlikely to increase it. So the odd scorpion on the arm, the old snake around the neck, fine, okay, can work. Careful not to spell mother wrong if you're going for that.
Folkish Norse pagan melodies. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of for the music. I cannot believe there's 58 people watching and they can't produce a muscle of a question. I mean, my mate got a tattoo and it seems to decrease he fortunes with women. I mean, this is low-level stuff, even for our standards. It was a swastika to be fair. All right, Fong Hang has a question. You mentioned training with us first. Did you mean a boot camp or an intern assistant with no pay period like ASD with their coaches before hard? It depends, man. I mean, most of the time, guys that we work with, that you'd have seen working with me and Sam, or some product of videos with me and Sam, they've trained with us, right? They invested time to get better. Brett is a great example, Mr. B in Oslo. He wanted to up his skills. He came to me and Sam. We held him to account. He's now fucking good. He invested in us, so then we invested in him by giving him work afterwards because we knew it was at a certain level. So if you're at a very good level, yeah, come in and maybe there's some room for not training. But most guys we meet, 99% of guys that ever approach us for coaching are awful with women, and they basically just want a freebie. They don't want to pay for the coaching, and they think, oh, I can sneak in the back door with you by offering some nonsense shit I'm not good at. And we see straight through it. I mean, we weren't born yesterday. It has happened a number of times, right? So invest in yourself by actually paying for something. If you resonate with our content, we can make you better depending on what your goal is. And then later we can talk about coaching if that's something you actually really enjoy. But learning this stuff and then doing it as a job is very different. Like I did far more approaching when I did it as a hobby. To a large degree, I enjoyed it more when I did it as a hobby. The enjoyment tends to go when you professionalize something you're doing to a degree because it becomes a business and it's got to pay the bills. So And that's why I kind of hire coaches, because I do far more of the kind of backroom sales stuff, planning content, that sort of stuff now. I don't know if it changed much for you, Sam, when you kind of got into the coaching side of it.
Well, I think when I first got in, it was really tough because there's suddenly this sense that you're required to be good. And so I used to think that if I had a client, I couldn't get rejected, right? And it's complete bullshit, right? But I think the thing changed when I realized that to be entirely honest about the way things are is not only enough, but it's how it needs to be, right?
Yeah,
there's so many companies and so many guys selling these ideas that you get to a point where everything is easy and you can it's always easy to approach anyone, anywhere, at any time. And it's like, no, it requires constant work. You're always going to get rejected. You're always going to have up periods and down periods. You're always going to question yourself to some extent. And once you can accept that and you start teaching people that that's the way it is, then people start chasing a possible reality and not an unreachable illusion. So I think it's really important to just not. For me, I don't think of myself as being good with women. Like this idea that you get better or you're good with women. The way I see it is, some women are attracted to some men some of the time, and that's just the way it is. And it's like, if you consistently go out and you try and be an active learner, you're going to end up dating more women. But to think of yourself as better or worse than other people or getting better, it's a moving target, and you're always going to be comparing yourself to someone else. So you should just try as much as you can to be in a state where you're curious and interested, to go out and talk to girls, and forget about your ego. Be open to learning from anyone, anywhere, and not think about yourself as like transforming into someone who's good with women, but instead to think about, what do I want to see in my social life? What kind of women do I want to be dating? And focus on them instead of focusing so much on like you becoming a player. So just focus on what you want to see in your life and chase that.
Very good point. And I think it's a very healthy way to look at it. And actually, it's taken us years actually of doing this to kind of to get to that kind of elysium of that. And it's not that we don't care or we're beyond, day game or beyond picking up women. It's definitely not. We're not pretending it's anything to do with that nonsense. But you just have this self-realization that it's really all about you, isn't it? It's your own hero's journey. I mean, it's breaking down your own fears and insecurities, and women are always going to be there. But to rely on them for validation or to think that they're the key to happiness is a fucking fool's errand. But you have to go through this process to realize it, right?
Yeah, you
don't realize that.
You have to take the long route round to get to basically one step forward, right? Sometimes you have to fucking take this labyrinth to come back to where you are. Anyway, it's all getting a bit hippie. Favorite cities for day game? Go on, you start. Yeah, I know you love this one. You're going to start talking about Russia and Ukraine and things, aren't you?
St. Petersburg's good. I need to explore Moscow more, which I'm going to do in July. Barcelona's a very safe pair of hands. Not for Spanish women, may I add. For the fact
Brazilians, right?
A bit like London, yeah, very touristy. Well, Latin Americans, Venezuelans, Colombians, Brazilians. Helsinki, one of my favorites. One of the best places to take beginner guys. Such warm rejections. You'll never see anything like it. It makes Brazil look cold in terms of the women there.
Where's so impressed.
Helsinki, Finland. They're so impressed by men approaching. They're so nice to you. They all speak perfect English, least touristy of the Scandinavian countries. They want to practice it. Blonde hair, blue eyes, good looking, extremely promiscuous culture, no slut shaming. It's literally the perfect concoction of a city to take people to. And it's why, alongside Rio, it's the only city I've been to 5 years in a row, because it's that fun. It's that good. Belgrade's are probably overall one of the best places in the world for day game when you consider cost of living. You can get an amazing Airbnb apartment for £20 a night. Logistics, be right on that main day game street, the equivalent of Oxford Street, Nesmi, Hylova. Weather is amazing, 35 degrees. Cost of living super cheap, £1 a beer. Women are absolutely stunning. They speak fluent English for no apparent reason, because they all watch Fools and Horses for some reason. There's an obsession in Serbia with only Fools and Horses, with Del Boy and Rodney, that stupid TV show from London, because apparently the Serbian people resonated with them as like hard done by in the kind of Yugoslav war. It's absolutely
right. That makes sense. That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's
you
really
go
interesting.
Del Boy to anyone and anywhere, and they're like, "Oh my god, women as well as men. Everyone knows about Only Fools and Horses."
That's
when
amazing.
Rodney became like some like kind of a weird like aid person for like the UN. Apparently, he had no idea about this. Budvar, obviously Montenegro, extremely historical close ties to Serbia. He stepped off the plane in Montenegro and got a standing ovation from the entire airport. And he was like, what's going on? He's like 50 at this stage. This is 30 years after the show ended. And they're all like, they're obsessed. It's like Kanye West arriving in your local Westfields. It's that kind of hero's welcome. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's the same here in Brazil with the Peaky Blinders. Like, there's something about
they're obsessed with Peaky Blinders.
There's something about the Peaky Blinders that drives Brazilians absolutely crazy.
More than Big Brother.
Well, it's a different type of thing. Big Brother is like the McDonald's, right? Peaky Blinders is like, for them, the Argentinian steak, the blue Argentinian steak. It's like, for them, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. But that handsome chap, the lead guy with the buzz cut.
He's got something Murphy, Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, yeah. He is literally the greatest heartthrob in Brazil. And I think it's because he captures that sort of the hard done by British side in a way, right? Like the sort of lower class fighting English. Like, it encapsulates everything about like grimy England that they're so fascinated in. So it's like the royal family on one side and Peaky Blinders on the other side. They're utterly obsessed.
Yeah, I noticed the royal family thing as well. Jesus, God, they've got a lot to answer for. Oh no, let's not skip that one, Sambo. What were your comments on favourite cities for David?
Favourite cities. Well, there's a difference. Most effective and the most fun. Budvar was loads of fun because you've got that labyrinth-like old town where you're sort of like walking into people. Someone's walking around one corner and you bash into them. You never know what's around the next corner. So you're sort of like walking through and then some stunner just walks past you before you've had time to even see. You sort of pedal back on yourself. It's really fun because it's a beautiful old town. You feel like you're walking through history. And there's just this strange collection of, Russian, Serbian, Croatian, like everywhere. So Budvar's a lot of fun, but probably not the most effective in terms of results.
Well, it was fairly effective if you think back, because we were doing actually what we did really well was the double date thing. So one day you'll be approaching, it's a holiday location. Do you have a friend from my friend? Photo exchange, double date. The next day I'm approaching the same thing. So if you do it like that, it can be extremely.
If you do it like that, that's true. That's true, and that's an important point, I think, for cities. If you're going with a friend, or if you can meet someone there, I highly recommend knowing a couple of guys in any city you're going to, because so often you'll say to ask a girl out on a date, and she just doesn't want to meet you one-on-one. She just doesn't trust it enough, or she doesn't feel relaxed enough. It feels a bit too much pressure, so she's not going to do it. If you've got a friend, you send her a picture, send a picture of you two smiling, having a drink. She can then talk to her friend. She's going to feel way more comfortable. If the other guy is a decent, funny, decent-looking guy as well, the friend's probably going to come out with you as well. And you two can do that double date, and that's now a party. That's now an anything goes, right? And so double dates when you're traveling is an amazing way to do it.
It's so underrated, and people never talk about it, but it's so easy. And also, if you're out on a double date, it's so easy to take both girls back to yours if you're sharing a place, because there's no pressure there. It's like, okay, we'll come back, have a drink. It's not like the girl's making a decision, I'm going to have to sleep with him if I go back. Yeah. She hasn't made that calculation, so it's so easy to get girls back.
Yeah, and you can leave them to talk a little bit by themselves, right? Like at times, like we would just have a chat with, I'd have a chat with you, they'd have a chat with each other, get to know each other a bit, and everyone feels better. Girls are attracted to guys who are expressive, and it's much easier to be expressive when you're around someone that you like and you know, because you can have banter. And when they see you in your natural habitat, communicating, expressing, there's an evolved attraction to expressive men, to men who are expressing themselves, right? A lot of the time when we think we're being cool and we think we're being suave and we think we're being a player, girls see through it and they find us annoying. This has been my experience. It's so interesting to learn it. And a lot of the times when I thought I was doing really badly, or I thought like, fuck, this is getting a bit deep, or I'm a bit vulnerable here, that's when they start to get really attracted, right? Because it's an authentic expression of who you are, rather than this sort of like, oh yeah, I'm the big guy now. And they're just like, you're a clown, mate. So like when you're with a friend, they get to see raw expression and raw communication between two people that like each other. And that is innately attractive. Just the same as if you're playing sport. Like when I was in Rio with Toby, one of a good friend of mine and a friend of yours now as well, who's doing some work in Mexico, we'd go out and play football on the beach, Alchinha, just kicking the ball about. I've never had so much tension in my life,
really,
as when I'm playing football on Brazil Beach, because you're sweating, you're laughing, you're running, you're jumping, You're just in the moment, right? Locked in it. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not trying to like figure anything out. You're just completely loose and in the moment, expressing yourself. And so I think that shines through when you're with a guy that you like and you communicate naturally with as well.
Yeah, we've also had it where sometimes, you know, it would end up with the date you're on floundering a bit or vice versa. And just because you're with the other two, the energy just gets picked up again. So it saves a bad situation sometimes as well.
Yeah.
It's such a solid pair of hands. I don't know why there's not more advice on doing the double date thing with a friend if you're in a random city, because it doubles your options as well. Or if there's three of you, it triples your options.
No, I know, but I think this is not the vast majority of people giving advice are so focused on girls that they don't often go out with. Like, they don't have a male friend that they go out with like that, right? I think the majority of maybe coaches in this space, it's much more about like going solo and just approaching as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
I think focusing more on the social element of it and like, again, just being a normal guy, just not having to be a pickup artist, not having to put yourself in this little box and create this identity around it. Just being a guy who you are, liking doing what you're doing, and then going out with a friend and having fun and talking to girls. That's what this should be. We're not trying to segregate ourselves into some micro society of guys who do a thing. It's just living your life normally, talking to girls, having fun with your friends.
Agreed. And again, you have to kind of go through this journey though and become a bit of the weird pickup guy, don't you? To then break free from that and realize actually that was a really important lesson to not return to that.
Maybe you have to go through. It sounds like you're doing something sinister to your little robot friend over there, Tusk. I keep hearing tap tap tap. Yeah, this is it.
Because I'm tapping.
I know you like her, but I dread to think where your fingers are going that I can't see.
It's straight into the clown's goose.
Don't you deflower her.
Top London date venues. Well, the obvious thing, Joe, is to put the date close to your place. Logistics are king. So always, in my opinion, pick somewhere. You know, if it is a first date and you just want to make it happen, potentially stack the chips in your favor. Just pick a bar near your place. It's going to be the easiest thing to do. If you're dating a girl and you want to take her somewhere cool, Milk and Honey's a pretty cool bar. The Vault in Covent Garden's a pretty cool bar. Satan's Whiskers, my favourite named bar in London, in Bethnal Green. That actually does surprisingly good cocktails. You look so unimpressed with Satan's Whiskers.
Well, you just like the name, don't you?
Yeah, completely. They've got me on the name. It could have served
Play growler.
Fucking
what about
pork scratchings. It could be a pork scratching production plant, and I'd have been there in a heartbeat because it's called Satan's Whiskers. What a name!
It's a good name. Play growler's a pretty good one.
Play growler. Cheesy growler. Any date venues that you like, Sambo? Any hippie date venues?
I want to go back to what you were saying, which I think is absolutely crucial. And another thing where I think you were spot on about it. But I remember you had a period of just prolific success in Rio, from the Golden Barrels, where right opposite our house, right next to where we were staying, there's this, not even a boteco. A boteco is like a cheap bar in Brazil, like just a clandestine cheap bar. This was like below a boteco. It doesn't even have the name. It's literally just a hole in the wall, rough and ready, with some old rusty kegs outside and some plastic chairs that are collapsing in on themselves. And George would go out and bring, some absolute stunners, expecting that they'd go to some of the smartest sushi restaurants and bars in Rio, and they'd turn up to these rusty Golden Barrels. And I actually believe that in many ways it's exactly what's needed. I really do, because I think
underplay your hand, basically.
Well, it's also reframing what you're doing. It's no longer this performance art where you're going out to show off and be seen with this woman and for her to be seen in the restaurant. You bring it right back down to earth, and it's something that I do as well in Rio. When I go on a date, maybe I'll go somewhere like fun before that, but I'll always say I love cachaça. My favorite cachaça in Rio is at this place. I love it. It's really rough and ready and cool. You'll like it, right? And then they get there and they look at it, and at first they're looking at it like, what the hell is this? But then you're like, I love it. Isn't it so down to earth, right? We can just sit outside in the street, soak up the evening, and there's great cachaça, and the people are friendly. And the guy's like, yeah, this is cool. And then, me, Eddie, and a couple of girls were sitting outside, getting a bottle of cachaça on the table. The guy's coming over and topping us up. they're loosening up because they're not posing anymore and trying to be seen looking good. And then it's the most fun dates I've had in Rio have been at the cheapest places because everyone loosens up. So I think it's more than just convenient logistics and cheap drinks. It's reframing this sort of superficial date as just, no, let's hang out and let loose and have fun. And so I actually think there's a lot to be said for taking girls to just some, cheap characterful pub that you like, where you know the bar staff or something.
Absolutely.
Or some outdoor, pop-up drink stand where you can meet a few other people there, and it's outside and it's free and it's liberating. Don't think about going to Aqua Kyoto, where everyone's dressed up in cocktail dresses and it's overpriced sushi and overpriced drinks, and everyone gets tight and stiff, and it's not conducive to whatever you want to happen next.
Very good points. Are there anywhere, though, if people are dating a girl that you've been to that you'd say is a cool date venue when you want to, show your hand a bit more and you're happy to go somewhere nice?
Aqua Kyoto. Yeah.
Is that the one on Carnaby Street?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's the one on, what's it? Great Malden. Is it Great Malden Street? It's the one before Carnaby, right?
To be honest, one of my favourite bars, and it is and was and still is, where I did my dates for about 3 years when I used to line up 5 or 6 dates on a Sunday in London, which is 214 Gin Bar, right next to my house. It was perfect logistics, but also the plot bar is sick. You go in, it's a fucking 300 types of gin, cool bartenders, cool atmosphere, packed with people, really, just a lot of fun sitting in the bar.
I think for me, the reason why for me maybe 213, is it 214? 214?
214.
So the reason why 214, I probably wouldn't take a date there, and the reason why you probably wouldn't go to Kyoto is, as you said, because that's your living room, right? You know the bar staff, you know the layout, you're comfortable there. And the same for me in Kyoto. I spent so many nights with clients there. I know so many people, so many regulars there. I know the bar staff. They know what drinks I have. So me going there is just, it's so easy, right? Because I can introduce the girl that I'm with to the people. I probably know some people there, so we can come onto their table. And I've got my sort of social vibe there. And so that's another thing. Whether it's a cheap pub or the expensive bar, you're going to be doing way better, or even a cafe, Joe and the Juice. You're going to be doing way better if you know the place, you've been there a few times, you know the staff, you know a couple of the regulars. You're going to have a way better experience.
And what I'd say to argue now is actually, guys, in conversation, if you are not super new to this, spend more time in the conversation actually getting to know the girl. Because one of the kind of, not regrets I have, but sometimes what I'd do is I'd rush through the approaches, rack up the numbers. You'd go out on dates with girls and you'd be like, this is a waste of time. I don't actually like her. Beyond the fact she's relatively good looking, she's actually really not my cup of tea. Maybe she's like a screechy, very extroverted girl who isn't going to give you a quiet life. Whatever it is, maybe you just don't see eye to eye with her, and it's actually a massive waste of your own time because you've spent time preparing. You've got your glad rags on, you've chosen the date venue, you've booked that evening off, assuming you might take her home, and it's a tremendous waste of time. Far better to spend 5 or 10 minutes longer in the conversation initially, really figure out if you like her. You have a good vibe with her. Vibe is so important. Really get to grips with that. See past the visuals. Try and desensitize to that. Figure out if you genuinely like her, and then put that effort into going out on a date with her. And that's the advice I give to guys now. I didn't used to do that, but it's so important because time, you never get it back. And I prefer just to be at home doing something productive or out with my mates than being on a date with a girl I don't actually click with.
100%. The only caveat to that, I would say, is that if you haven't got any options right now, and I know a lot of you won't, at some point, everyone goes through that. But if you don't have a lot of options, I highly recommend taking what you can get, because, and I don't mean that in a, it sounds a little bit bad, but just you've got to get the ball rolling, because what happens if you don't have a lot of options and there's not a lot of women that you could see maybe today or tomorrow, is that your standards will actually go up. So you'll walk past a girl that if you were in a flow state and if you were dating a lot, or if your proverbial cup was full, you would approach that girl. But now that you're not, you're seeing her and you're seeing flaws in her, right? You're saying, oh, she's a little bit heavy. She's not quite my type. Her nose is too long. Whereas when you're in the flow state, when you're getting results, all you see is her energy. You're like, no, but she's making me feel good, right? I feel stimulated. I feel aroused. And then you follow that energy and it's addictive, and she likes it and you like it and you get on. So I would agree with, I'd completely agree. I'd say Don't waste your time with girls that you're not really interested in, you don't have a good vibe with, unless you haven't got anything going for you at the moment, in which case get the ball rolling, get back out there, start getting into your sexuality again, right? Start finding yourself in that place where you're feeling stimulated, you're feeling excited and aroused, and you're looking at women and getting exciting. And it takes that first step. It takes a couple of encounters for you to start feeling natural and start feeling good.
And on that note, Andrew Hayes says these two are more yes, Prime Minister. I don't even know what it means, but I like it. I don't know what it means. I like it. I like.
I want to know what is yes, Prime Minister Andrew?
These two are
the
more
elusive
yes,
Andrew.
Andrew Hayes. He's a scallywag of old.
He's a mysterious character, isn't he?
I know full well who he is. He's been kicked off the group WhatsApp 3 times for being too rowdy. He just starts winding people up and getting in ridiculous shouting matches with them. Now he's sneaking onto our live streams. Good to see you, Andrew. You look. People always make mistakes. If you're willing to apologise and pay the entry fee, you're allowed back on. But unless you do that. Any final thoughts, Sambo? I've got to run to a meeting of sorts to teach a client on grey London, Oxford Street. Of course, go to the epicentre. Day game is hell, and get him charging around there like a headless goose. Although day gamers on Oxford Street are a bit like vampires; they're afraid to go into shops. So that the shortcut always used to be us going to Bond Street Station, sit at the Joe and the Juice because everyone was afraid to go in there, or go in Selfridges where no one goes into and approach in there. So
Well, they've changed it, right? We used to stand in between the elevators. There's one going up and one going down. And we used to stand at the bit at the top in the middle and just watch the women going down and up and just pick them off the conveyor belt as they came. But they've now put a huge advertising stand there to ward us off. I think people
one of my favorite ever videos with you, which I'm not sure if it's allowed up anymore because there's quite a bit of kind of lad banter, which probably would be seen in the wrong light. It was, us just standing at the top of Bond Street, escalators, just trying it on with people. It was absolutely hilarious.
It was a great video, wasn't it?
Great memories. So what are you most looking forward to end with? What are you most looking forward to when you come back to good old London? What's on the agenda?
Man, again, it's going to be an esoteric answer, but I just think London is a giant playground for adults. So you're walking through history everywhere you go. There's interesting people everywhere. There's so much going on throughout the day. Every time I arrive back in London from a long hiatus, I literally see it as just this huge adventure. So I'm looking forward to getting started again. I'm looking forward to meeting up with my guys over there, with you guys, with the clients that have booked me in. I'm back on the 21st of June. So the first 2 weeks are already booked up. So I've been away for so long. So I'm just looking back to reconnecting, right? And getting back into the flow of things, getting content out there, bringing the DJI back there and filming these sort of more travel-oriented freestyle vlogging videos with infields in them. I'm looking forward to getting started, man. It's always just a massive boost to energy, creativity, and business as well. So,
and when is your arrival date? Provisionally, so we can start to plan a sensible boot camp.
Yeah, it should be around the 17th of June. But I'm going to be inactive. I'll be having these PCR tests and whatnot. London will still be sort of
maybe not by then. Maybe you'll be okay. You might be all right.
I think I'm going to be active from the 21st.
All right, 21st of June.
21st of June is one. The first couple of weekends, I'm pretty much booked up with the one-day courses. And so, anybody that wants to get in touch with me, I offer free 30-minute breakthrough calls. So I'll put my calendar link at some point in this video. And if you just want to get in touch, any sticking points, I'm speaking to 4 or 5 people a day at the moment. So just get in touch and I'm more than happy to talk to you and help you out with anything. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to getting back and running some stuff with you over there.
It's going to be good. Yeah, book book the Calendly link directly under this with Sam, or send him an email, admin at Full Social. If you want to get in touch with me, info@jamestusk.com. Details will also be below. And if you want to put your hand up for a joint training with me and Sambo, we will probably do one in mid-late June with 3 or 4 guys. You're going to be coming to Helsinki, aren't you? Joining over there?
Yeah. We need to talk a bit about that. or fair,
Plan
but
some
I
joint
should be
boot
there
camps.
in
Maybe
Helsinki
Barcelona as well. It's a safe pair of hands. Maybe even Poland. I've had an itching to go to Lodz, which is kind of the third Polish city.
Oh
which
yeah,
no one
we were
talks
talking about that.
I'd love to go there
Yeah.
if it opens up in June, July. That'd be fucking sick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nothing else to say. Cheers for tuning in, guys. We'll do it again soon. Any questions, hit us on the email addresses and we will chat soon.